Yo, what's up guys, C-Jax back with another video, and today I'm going to be discussing something that needs to be talked about, and simply the WWE roster is not good, and honestly it kind of sucks. Now obviously there are some certain talent that I'm going to exempt from this critique, like Roman Reigns, Rhea Ripley, Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins, all those people I just named are exempt from these problems. However, everybody else that's about to get talked about is not exempt from these issues, so let's get into it. Number one, everyone always talks about how, oh, the WWE's roster is as stacked as it's ever been. The storytelling's insane. The WWE is so hot right now. Listen, let me tell you something. When I was growing up, the average SmackDown or Raw consisted of these names: Undertaker, John Cena, Rey Mysterio, The Miz, Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton, Triple H, Shawn Michaels. Who else was in who else here? You had Carlito, for example, who was a mid-carder back then, but now he's literally upper on the card because he's in the Judgment Day, for example, right? And the list goes on and on and on. You had Chris Jericho, you had Big Show, you had Sheamus was just coming into the WWE, etc. You had CM Punk, etc. The list goes on and on. Now, who do you have that is actually a believable main eventer? Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns. And the reason you have no believable main eventers is because of stuff like this with Liv Morgan's World Heavyweight Championship reign that has basically been carried by a feud that really revolves around Dominic and Rhea more than it does around Liv and Rhea. Stuff like that. You have stuff like Damian Priest being a world champ and his reign was 90% garbage until the last week or two, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just not good. It's not main event worthy. He was a mid-carder pretending to be a main eventer with the world title, and we all knew it. Cody Rhodes. When you have a WWE champion, this guy took the title from Roman Reigns, who had it for 4 years, and he literally proposed to Kevin Owens. He challenged someone else to challenge for his own title. What other WWE champion in history has asked another guy, who was a mid-carder, by the way? Kevin Owens has done nothing the last year. He challenges a mid-carder to fight him for his own title, which is supposed to be the most prestigious title in the WWE, which it used to be under Roman in the Bloodline, and now it's a joke. Things like that make many people feel like there's no credible main eventers in the company. Especially when you had a roster that was as stacked as it used to be, and you compare it to this, Cody Rhodes as WWE champion versus Randy Orton or John Cena being WWE champion. Stop. There's no believable main eventers in the WWE today, and I'm not even going to continue to hate on that because I'm going to talk about the problems that come from that thing. First off, this makes SmackDown and Raw worse. When you only have one legitimate main eventer, that means that you're not building up any other superstars in the meantime. I'm not saying you have to have multiple different superstars on the level of Roman Reigns because that's obviously impossible. When John Cena was in the WWE, you didn't have, multiple different John Cenas. You just had multiple top guys. One Cena, one Orton, one Triple H, and so on and so forth. You're not going to be able to have a lot of different superstars. That hasn't happened since the Attitude Era, when there was Shawn Michaels, Rock, Taker, Austin, so on and so forth. So obviously this isn't going to happen consistently, but you need to have a more balanced roster, and I know the roster isn't balanced because look at the different divisions that struggle because of this. Because there's only a certain very minuscule amount of believable main eventers, we basically have no good women's division, for example. Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill too, to an extent, are the only women who actually are believable in the main event scene. It's facts. How do I know this? Because look at Monday Night Raw's women's division. Lyra Valkyria, jobber. Kaden and Katana Chance, seat filler, spot filler, garbage. Who else? Sonya Deville and her new faction with Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark, garbage. They're botch fest in the ring. Io Sky, Dakota Kai, and Kairi Sane. They're actually a pretty solid group, but you notice how their screen time is pretty much equaled out, or if not less, than Sonya Deville, Shayna Baszler, and Zoe Stark? You know what I'm saying? WWE has issues building talent. Dakota Kai can talk on the mic, and she can wrestle better than anyone else on Raw, except for Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, and that's pretty much it. That's literally it. She's better than Liv Morgan in my personal opinion, or at least on the same level. She has the talent to be on that level, but you're never going to see that. Same thing when you look on SmackDown, or not even on SmackDown, let's go on Raw still. Karrion Kross, in Scarlet, in Akam, in Razor, whatever the dude's name is, Akon. Like, who cares? They get so much screen time with this Xavier Woods storyline that goes absolutely nowhere when we can be giving time to different wrestlers on Raw. You know what I'm saying? Kiana James just got drafted, 4 months ago, and she's done nothing in 2 months? You're not giving your stars to shine. They have no chance to shine on anything. It's embarrassing. Then you look at SmackDown, you have people like Grayson Waller and Austin Theory who got consistent screen time over and over and over again, when you have people like the Street Profits, who Montez Ford has more charisma in his left pinky than Austin Theory and Grayson Waller do combined. But yet we're getting more of the Theory and Waller than we are of the Street Profits. And because of this, the division's hurt. Look at the tag team division. DIY wins the tag team championships and loses them in 3 weeks to who? The Bloodline. The only story in wrestling that matters. And even the tag team division on Raw sucks too. We know this. I mean, the titles just pretty much play hot potato. Finn Balor and JD have them. Then in a couple months, I'm sure somebody else will have them. And then R-Truth and Miz randomly got them for their little moment at Mania, and then we moved on from that. Like, everything's just in disarray, and we barely even get to see screen time for most of the tag champs. Same thing with the mid-card. LA Knight wins the U.S. Championship. Who's he fighting? Santos Escobar, another jobber. It's ridiculous. And the mid-card on Raw is the same stuff. Who is Braun Breaker going to challenge for the IC title after he beats Sami Zayn on Raw? Who is he going to challenge? Literally nobody. What, Bronson Reed? Another mid-carder? Like, what? Come on, man. Cody Rhodes wins the WWE Championship, and he's had 4 months to prove himself on the mic, in the ring, with his feuds, with his storytelling, and he's done nothing. He's still a second fiddle to Roman Reigns, Rollins. He's not even better than Kevin Owens. He's not better than Randy Orton. He's not better than Drew McIntyre or CM Punk or any of those people. And he had 4 months to prove himself. There was no Roman Reigns involved, none of that stuff, and he still hasn't proved himself as a top guy. So your main event scene is not believable. Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens main evented Royal Rumble 2023. Do you really think that Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens is going to main event Bash in Berlin while Gunther is the world champion? Of course not. He can't even main event Clash at the Castle, which is a C or a B tier PLE at best. So that lets you know that your main event scene is cooked. Your women's tag team division has always been bad, but it was on an uptick for 2 or 3 months while Bianca and Jade were champions because it was interesting, it was engaging. We had women's wrestlers who actually went out there and got a reaction from the crowd and put on good matches with good stories. But now, what do you have? Nothing. Nothing. Alba Fire and Dawn, what do they do? They don't cut promos. They don't really wrestle on SmackDown besides 2 times since they won the titles. Like, what do they do? You know what I'm saying? I don't even understand what the point of that is, right? So now that I've discussed how it ruins multiple different divisions, it also ruins the star power inside of the company. There are no mainstream superstars in the WWE besides Roman Reigns, Rhea Ripley, CM Punk maybe, Seth Rollins maybe, and that's pretty much it. Cody Rhodes is not a mainstream superstar. How do I know this? Because he was literally a jobber and a mid-carder for 98% of his career. You know what I'm saying? Roman Reigns has probably like 7 to 10 million Instagram followers. Between that, in that range, somewhere in that range. Like, it's the same stuff. He's a megastar. Same with The Rock, obviously. I don't even need to go into that. There's levels to this. You know what I'm saying? Rhea Ripley is a bigger draw than Cody Rhodes. And she's in the women's division. Which is trash, but she's levels and head and shoulders above everybody. Just like Roman Reigns is head and shoulders above everybody in the men's division. You know what I'm saying? It's not even close. So the question is, how do we fix this? How do we make it so that WWE superstars like Roman Reigns, Rhea, Drew McIntyre, etc. are not leaps and bounds above everybody? And the truth is, you can't fix it unless you really have a balanced roster from top to bottom. You can't go from having John Cena, Orton, Hardy, Taker, Michaels, Triple H, everyone else like that, Jericho, etc., to going down now to only having Roman Reigns, McIntyre, Rollins, LA Knight. Like what is this? Compare the top 15 on Raw and SmackDown in the late 2000s or mid-2000s to the top 10 wrestlers now, and it won't be close. It's not going to be. But here's what you can do to at least alleviate some of these problems. Number one, you need to fire some of these wrestlers. The jobbers and the people who go out there and do absolutely pointless nonsense on a weekly basis need to be fired. There's no other way about it. I was trying to think of ways to be nice about it, but they just need to be fired. And the second thing you need to do, this is an option, you need to make a mid-card women's championship. You need to do something with that because these women cannot continue to go out here and cut these bad backstage segments and then barely get screen time, and the next week they barely get a match, and then the week after that they barely get screen time and they barely get a match. It's not sustainable. You need to add a women's mid-card championship so we can actually see some of these women on display, see their promo work, see their matches. And these mid-card championships can never be defended on a PLE if you really want to. You can just have them only defended on Raw. But you see what I mean? That makes SmackDown and Raw more interesting because now instead of Dakota Kai coming out and being a mouthpiece and a jobber, she actually can defend her women's mid-card championship, for example, on every other Raw or every 3 Raws or at least once a month, etc. Or the Raw before PLE, etc. You see what I mean? It makes it more interesting. And you could even add a mid-card championship to SmackDown for the men's and for the women's, honestly, and it would make SmackDown more interesting. Because instead of having Santos Escobar and Axiom and, Baron Corbin, Apollo going out and jobbing every 10 minutes, you can actually have them do something interesting on SmackDown and defend their titles every other week. Or you can have someone like, I don't even know, man. Who is an option? Who's a mid-carder on SmackDown who barely gets screen time? Like a Kevin Owens after this Bloodline feud and Cody Rhodes feud. He could easily hold a mid-card title, and he would be interesting with it. and he can defend it every other week or something like that. It just adds more to the table, so that's an option. I'm not saying you have to do that, but you can at least develop your mid-card by having them have chances to do more promos and more wrestling matches for something that actually matters, like a title. You see what I'm saying? And Andrade would benefit from that, or Carmelo Hayes would benefit from that. Sami Zayn, who's probably going to be in the ocean of obscurity after he loses this match to Braun Breaker tomorrow on Raw, or whenever on Raw. I don't know when I'm going to post this video, but we'll see. You know what I'm saying? So, it's just very, very odd to me, and it's very weird. So, there's just, those are two ways that they need to fix that certain issue with the roster not being credible. And another problem with this is that you need to start putting the belts on people that matter. Roman Reigns matters. Drew McIntyre matters. Cody Rhodes does not matter. He doesn't. And I'm starting to get sick of people actually defending this now. Now it's indefensible. He's had 4 months with no Roman Reigns in the company to try and make a name for himself. Woo, I'm about to make a name for myself, yeah. From Deadpool 3, like Gambit was talking about. He had a chance, and he didn't do anything. Nothing's changed about Cody Rhodes now from last year. It's the same Cody Rhodes. Nothing's changed. But the only thing that got different is his intensity and his promo ability has gotten worse. So, they need to fix this issue. Having a bad roster all around is going to continue to hurt them in many more ways than just one. You're not only going to have a mediocre main event scene, you're not only going to have, non-believable main eventers, but your tag team divisions, your mid-cards, your main event scene is going to get worse. And this makes your Raw and SmackDowns feel pointless because nothing's happening on them. It's just boring slogfest after slogfest after boring and boring and boring and boring and slogfest and boring and boring. So, it's a long story, but I made it short for this video. I don't know, maybe like 10 or 12 minute video, but you get the point. Main event scene needs to be improved, and the roster needs to be improved. Even if these people that you're bringing up from NXT, for example, like a Javon Evans, who I watched this Fatal 4-Way he had at NXT, Heatwave or TakeOver, whatever it was an incredible match. I'm not saying Javon Evans is super talented, which he actually pretty much is in the ring, but on the mic, I don't know if he's super talented or not. I've never watched NXT in like 9 years, so I don't know what's going on that show. However, what I do know is that WWE is in need of just anybody to come go out there and just put on a good match. And if he's going to be able to do that, then he needs to be brought up to the main roster soon. They need guys, man. I'm sorry, they just do. They need guys to fill out these positions. You can't have Raw be a 3-hour show and 60% of it is nothing. That's embarrassing. So, they need to fix it and figure it out. Let me know what you think about this. This is part 1, like I said. Next video, I'm probably going to discuss the good and bad of Triple H's booking, which is overrated. But we'll get into that another time, man. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have a phenomenal day. Peace out.